What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we are going to be taking a look at a title called Aska, which is actually kind of blowing up Steam right now. This is one of those unlikely victors of the overall indie struggle that appears to be stacking on tons and tons of positive reviews, and so we're going to be taking a look at this game today and see if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list, or if it's a game that you would rather pass on. For my first impressions of this game, I've been playing for about 2 hours prior to the recording of this video, and this is a Viking survival game that I think a lot of people are going to write off as kind of like we have Valheim at home, but honestly it's quite a bit different from Valheim despite the aesthetic similarities. If after watching this you wanted to get the game for yourself, I got a link for you down below in the description. The game is currently in early access, so by no means is this title finished off. There's still content yet to come. But for right now, in the first 2 hours, I've been doing a lot of building and a lot of messing with stuff. In addition to the links that you will find down below, you will find a link to my Twitch stream, to my Discord, all that kind of stuff. Pretty strong chance that I'm going to be streaming this on the day that the video goes live. But let's dive right on into this action and talk about what Aska is. So while on the surface, Aska has the appearance of being Valheim at home, it's actually not. There's a lot of things that this game shares with Valheim. This is a Viking survival game in which you are going to be chopping down trees and looking for copper ore and fighting with Draugr and things of that nature. Even the control scheme kind of feels a little bit similar to me in the way that you interact with the world, but that's more or less where the comparisons are going to stop. This is actually a colony survival game a la RimWorld or something like Settlement Survival if you've played that game. If you've ever played Hammerhelm, it's actually kind of like a Viking version of that. This is a game where you are going to be doing all the stuff that you do in Valheim, but with the intent of rather than building up your own super awesome longhouse, instead, in this game, you're going to be building up a Viking civilization on the fringes. Oh my god, there's a bad guy right there. Hold on. There's a thingy, and it's trying to harm me. I'm going to smack it up real fast. As I was saying, what was I talking about? Yes, this is a game where you're going to be building up a colony. You're going to be assigning workers to do various stuff. You're going to be fishing, and then you're going to be trying to get to the bottom of the mystery of how you ended up on this island full of Jotun, because in the opening sequence, your ship gets sunk. So in the last 2 hours, this game's a little bit of a slow burner, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that by taking you on a grand tour through my little village. This is not an action-packed game. There are blood moons. Your colony does come under attack. There are bad guys, there are enemies, there is combat, but those things are much an aside to you building up your colony, and in fact act as a foil to get you to build your colony up better. What do you want? What do you want? You got something over here? What do you got for me? What do you desire? Why are you just standing around right now with little icons and stuff up above your head? This is my village. So these right here are huts. These are where villagers live. Every single villager is going to need a hut. Probably takes about 10 minutes to build one of them. It's not a short process. This over here is the Eye of Odin. You're going to build this fairly early on in the game. It allows you to summon new villagers. Mine right now is flaming with the fury of, I don't know, 1,000... butane lighters. I'm not really too sure, but we've got like 6 minutes until our next guy gets here. I've got a campfire. This allows us to cook up food. This also allows us to stay warm when the winter gets here and it gets cold. You do have to manage people's temperatures. All these buildings, by the way, they tend to have like upgrades and add-ons and things that you can add to them as well. This is my gatherer's pit. This is basically a forager's hut if you've ever played Banished before. This is where characters will go out to find mushrooms and berries and stuff to feed ourselves so that we don't starve when things start to get cold. This is a wood chopper's hut over here. It does exactly what it sounds like on the tin. This friendly guy with the mutton chops over here is my wood chopper. I think he's probably filled up most of our storage, and so he should be good to go as far as I know. For right now, the next thing that I need to get on board is I actually need to get a stone cutter's hut. That way we can start getting lots of stone supplies that'll make life a little bit easier. So I'll probably place this on down over here. This game does have terraforming, so as you go through, you are going to have to level out the soil. However, the game makes it reasonably easy once you realize how the system works. You basically just got to press the E key while equipped with a hoe on each of these little green squares, and then once you've done that, it will flatten out the ground so that this area becomes usable. It's pretty fast, it's pretty clean, it's not that hard to pull off, and it also gets rid of all the weeds and all the dirt and everything else inside of your city so they're not in the way. From there, we're going to be supplying this with various lists of things that it wants me to have, so it wants me to have long sticks. We can pretty easily get that out of our stick storage right there, a little bit of jank. Honestly, the way that I've been thinking about this game is I've been thinking about it like, what if Piranha Bytes, the team behind like Gothic and Elix and all of those titles, tried to make a survival game? Because that's what it reminds me of the most. There's a fair bit of jank on this title. There's definitely a lot of lacking quality of life as well that could be added on in to make the game a little bit more enjoyable. But at the end of the day, the good news here is everything in the game functions reasonably well. I haven't really had any problems. I haven't really had any bugs. There has been some tutorializing issues where I've had to figure out how to do things kind of on my own because the game tells me to do them, but at the same time it didn't do it in kind of a way that was like, all right, well, like, where do I go to find that thing? You do have, I guess I call this Ubisoft vision in every single game that it's inside of. We've got a drinking water pool right here, and my character's thirsty, so I'll go ahead and drink from it real fast. We do have Ubisoft vision. Ubisoft vision allows me to figure out resources on the ground, and it actually, if you watch, it diminishes the grass and makes it pop down and makes it actively go away so that you could see stuff. Before I started using that key, it was really difficult to see loot in the underbrush. I would recommend the easiest solution right there to stop people from spamming the Z key, which I've been doing ad nauseum, is to add like a Division-style little white line that comes up and glows off of everything that can be picked up. But from there, if you use the Z key, it does diminish all the grass and makes it go away so that you can see the resources that are laying on the ground. I don't actively know what I should be doing next now that I have all this stuff set up, but the game does give you a whole bunch of runestone steps to everything that every god wants you to do. If you go out and do these things, I guess you get some kind of bonus from the gods. I haven't really gotten any bonuses yet. They want me to go fish, so maybe I'll try that out. Can I get a hunter's lodge yet? Do I have that available to me? Oh, it wants me to go up to the next tier of gatherer's hut before I can make a hunter's hut so that we can actively get our hands on a whole bunch of meat and goodies. Night is falling. I don't know if anything bad's going to happen tonight. Periodically, you get raided. The raids so far have not been a catastrophic problem. Well, I guess my first raid, my first Blood Moon, was a little bit intense. Like, I got beat up pretty good, but they were so focused on chewing on my buildings that it turned out not to be that big of an issue. So I'm not going to worry about it for right now. I'm going to try to go fishing, I guess, down by the shore, and then we'll see if we catch anything eventually, but I think I wasn't having too much success due to the fact that I haven't figured out where we get bait from yet. I haven't found any bait anywhere, so maybe someday I'll figure out where bait's at. In the meantime, while we wait for other stuff to happen, because it's nighttime right now, the good news is nighttime isn't particularly gnarly and dark unless there's a storm. Every now and again there are weather effects and like lightning storms and things like that that can happen inside the confines of the game. It does add kind of like a murky fog to the map that makes it really difficult to see at night. But for right now, we seem to be okay. I'm going to build a workshop pit. This location right here is going to allow us to build better tools and have more things going for us. And since I've been using Cro-Magnon tools this entire time, like nothing but stone tools that I've whittled out of the earth, I think it's actually a pretty good idea that we get this finished off. Hey, and look at that. This little guy's helping me build right now. I've never seen him actually do that behavior before. Okay. Cool by me. There is like an entire RimWorld menu thing that I was looking at a little bit earlier that will allow you to assign tasks and tell people what to do, but I've never actually seen them help me out with a building project, so that's a nice thing to see. I was wondering if there was going to be some kind of builder's hut or something that would make this go a little bit faster. And just like that, it looks like we've got ourselves a workshop pit. This should be helpful. For some reason, you occasionally injure yourself while working on any task. I don't know exactly why it happens that way, but it does. So we've got tool racks over here. What's up with the crafting bench? Can I make something even better? Oh, nice, dude. We've got like a much better version of the exact same axe that we were playing around with before. Okay, so we've got like a road maker over here. We've got a torch. I've got a heavy club. Instead of having the light club that I've been stuck with up until this point, I didn't even bother to make it because I didn't think it would be that good. But it does look like we can craft some stuff over here to kind of like advance ourselves down the tech tree. I'm going to need a lot more ropes and I think I'm going to need myself a lot more sticks if we want this thing to happen, but I'll get on top of it. I think it also wouldn't be the worst idea to open up the pit menu and maybe convert this on over. I'm going to need large stones in order to get it done. I got a third guy as well that I think that's why he's just building, is because we've got that third guy running around. I don't know if I ever built him a house. I should probably build him a house as well. He'd probably like to have a house. This guy is just acting as a builder right now. I haven't really been assigning people according to their stats and things that they do, just largely due to the fact that my draft hasn't gone well. Every time you light the beacon to get a new villager, damn, that's a big rock right there. Apparently got extra strength thirsty. I'd be thirsty if I was carrying a rock that big too. Look at the back on you, bro. No lower lumbar problems here. In the meantime, at about 6 a.m., it's time for us to do some early morning clinking and clacking and wake up the village with the sound of new tools being created. I definitely want the large stone axe. I definitely want the large stone pickaxe. I definitely want the heavy club. That would also be a good thing, but it looks like I don't have enough resin. The good news is there's always a whole bunch of resin laying around in the woods because I don't have like a gathering spot for it that my workers can put it inside of, so it shouldn't be that difficult to pick up a little bit more. It's quite literally lying around everywhere. Alright, so with the sticks and stuff that I have on board, oh, I can make a shield too. That's not a bad idea. I'd be down for a shield. Knock that thing out real quick, but let's get the club first because I want to be equipped. Gotta mess with my toolbar for a second. And yep, that's a much larger axe that's still comically Monster Hunter in its appearance in a little way. Okay, let me drink up some water right here, and we will decide what we want to bang out next, because the morning sun is rising, and that means it's time for equitable labor and getting things done. So in order to supply this bad boy, it wants a bunch of sticks, and it wants some other stuff. Now it wants logs, long sticks, large stones, small stones, barks. We need a lot of things to get this finished off. I don't think this is going to be a fast process. The good news is I can grab like I can get all the bark from right there just inside of our storage. So that's easy enough. We'll supply those on in. I don't know if I have stones laying around just yet because I just now put this guy. Oh, wow, he already maxed out stones, huh? Look at you over here being all efficient and good at your job. Man, I keep expecting him to be lying down on the job and like sleeping when things are getting finished off. But at the end of the day, things get done at the rate they need to get done. Harvesting and crafting animations in this game, they all seem perfectly fine to me. I don't really see any major problems with them. They feel like they have impact, they feel like they have weight, they feel like they get the job done. And so while the main character is sort of rigged and animated in a wonky, weird sort of way that I found off-putting when I first started playing the game, all of the supporting animations and things like that seem to work reasonably well, and I haven't had that many problems with bugs or anything else getting in the way of me effectively farming things. You do have item durability to work on in this game. I'm not a huge fan of it. I would rather have it be way more expensive, so I tend to like the Terraria model when it comes to games like this. What I mean by that is you have crafting tools, but those crafting tools have infinite durability, but getting them made in the first place is kind of like the hard part. In this game, it's pretty easy to get new things in order to like craft new tools and stuff like that, but they break pretty much constantly. I can't even tell you how many pickaxes and how many axes and how many weapons and things I've already gone through just playing the game for 2 hours. They break pretty quick, and it's mostly like a stylistic thing, but I don't like breaking tools in crafting games. This game also, unlike other crafting games, does not supply you with the means to just like repair your stuff straight off the tip of the bat. And so like from what I looked at it and when I went to the inventory, it looks like it doesn't want me to like repair things. So if we go over to our inventory, we've got all our tools over here. And if you like click on this guy right here, it doesn't look like there's a repair option. I do think a repair option should be added if you're going to have breakable tools. Just allow me to like use one stone Conan Exile style in order to get stuff repaired. But that's just kind of like my main initial observation about how this whole thing has been going. Never chopped a log before, so this should be a fun new experience as well. I know, thrilling gameplay. The gathering of wooden cylinders. As you saw the pop-up right there, there are RPG mechanics to this game. It is modeled after Valheim or something like Oblivion or something like Morrowind. As you use skills, you get better at them, and that will increase the damage that you deal to monsters. It will increase the damage that you deal to trees, depending on whether it's your wood-cutting skill, your combat skill, your stone cutting skill, that kind of stuff. And it does seem to matter a little bit. It seems like every 5 or 6 levels or so, you get an extra, 1 damage, I guess. But I'm guessing that's because your skill gives you a multiplier, not flat damage, because it does seem like we're getting a lot more efficiency out of the heavier tools as well. There we go, and we've got our first log, which we can haul back to get this place banged on out. And it looks like we're about ready for construction over here. It took me a good solid 10 or 15 minutes to get the stuff gathered for this. I think we're going to need a dedicated builder before too long so that I can go work on other things and get stuff mashed out. But there's our gatherer's hut. There is an appreciable difference every single time you upgrade something. The buildings change appearance. As you add parts to them, they do incrementally build as well, like with the huts. You start out with a stick frame, and then from there you put in the slats and the A-frame on it, and then you also coat it in bark. Those are all very nice details that I think help make the game's progression curve when building objects more agreeable and visually pleasing to look at. I've been liking it. There's also skinning and hunting. The only things that I've skinned and hunted so far are draugrs. It allows you to chop up draugrs because occasionally you get jotun's blood out of them. I don't know if there's any draugrs down here in all honesty. Usually there are. There's another critter over here though. Give him a good bashing. There we go. Crush his skull. There were a bunch of draugrs over here that gave me a bunch of drama earlier. I'd like to take care of them as well, just so that I have free ease of passage. Oh, there's so many. That is a lot of draugr, my friend. That is a lot of them. Dodge out of the way. Make sure we don't get hit. I mean, I would prefer to bash these fools up, but... Oh, I'm out of stamina. That's what's doing. No, don't swing again. Okay, it has queued inputs. I didn't realize that it had queued inputs. That's queued inputs, not cute inputs. Those are two different things. That guy's now dead. Combat in this game is fine. It's a little bit clunky. But for a game where combat isn't really the focus, it's not that bad. However, this new club is way better at taking down draugr than my last one was. Roll out of the way. Give him a big smack. Ooh, that knocked him down. Even better. There we go. You do have a stability meter that puts him on a stun. In case you were wondering how that works, I probably need to go back and get food. I'll drink some water real fast, though. And these guys right here, we can harvest them. They occasionally will give us yoten blood. That sawing looks incredibly painful. Please don't stick me with a stone knife in my loins like that. This is definitely a lady that you probably don't want to cross. Yep, that's a rough tuggy right there. Legend has it that inside of her hut, she's got an entire room that's just full of dickskin trophies. What I actively came down here for, though, is these nodes right here. These are yoten blood nodes. And so these yoten blood nodes, they allow you to get yoten blood, which is how you fuel the beacon that causes more people to come join your society. I haven't played around with whether you can have multiple beacons or not, so that you can have more guys coming in at once than normal. I should probably investigate that a little bit, but that little shard right there is exactly what we're after. That's the thing that we need. I don't know how many of them that I have, but we definitely need to get a new guy up and running, and we're just going to put him on building duty, I think. So hopefully we get something. It's random what you get, so it gives you every single time you summon from the beacon, it gives you a procedurally generated grouping of Vikings that can arrive on the Jotun Isle, and they've got different stats, they've got different perks, they've got different things they're good at or bad at. All of my guys right now are pretty universally bad at the things that they're doing because I just haven't gotten any guys that are relevant to my draft so far. But let's go on over to the Eye of Odin. Actually, I need one more, huh? Okay, I thought I had more than that, but we'll throw those on in there for right now. And let me go ahead and isolate and grab the last one. There we go. I got my final one, so we can actually summon a new guy. So we've got Hedvig, and we've got Elsa. Elsa is good at crafting, and it looks like she eats a lot. This person is uncomfortable when they get wet, but they're good at lumberjacking, which means I can put her on lumberjacking, and I can take the guy off that sucks at lumberjacking. And there you go. The beacon has been lit. In about 10 minutes, we'll get more guys. I'm going to lay down for a little bit of a nap time. Health does not come back easily in this game. And I have a sneaking suspicion it's actually permadeath. I haven't... Listen, I had 2 hours of progress to make this video. I was a little bit afraid to sort of just like let mobs murder me and see what would happen. But a number of the reviews mentioned that the game's kind of Dwarf Fortress-like, in the respect that when you lose, and so I'm guessing that if the bad guys tear down your city, that's that, and it's just kind of over for you. That's not verified, so don't take it to heart. I haven't played around with it yet, and so that's kind of the weakness of First Impressions videos, is that I don't really get a chance to test out the full breadth of all the mechanics. What I'm doing here is I'm giving you like 2.5 hours of gameplay that I've put in to be like, am I positive or negative about this when I get to the end of my journey? Panning on through the buildings, it does seem like there's a lot of projects to play around with inside of the current early access. It looks like there's adventuring, so maybe combat does have a heavier focus than I initially realized. There's a cave entrance right here, and it says the full function of this is for you to go in and explore it. It seems like there's a decent amount of buildings right now. There's not like an enormous quantity of buildings. It looks like I've gotten through about half of them in my 2 hours or so that we've had going along. You also get magic powers. You can build various shrines that allow you to do things like turn into ravens. There's prayer spots and stuff like that. I haven't seen how that really factors on into the greater overall richness of the game. However, they are all there, so my guess is you would probably get like 10 or 15 hours out, unless more buildings just magically appear inside the list. Maybe there's missing buildings, but in order to get all the buildings built, it feels like probably about 10 or 15 hours inside the current early access, just extrapolating my current work time and the amount that I've played the game. I need to build some more huts. I need some more places for my people to live, so I'll give them some basic shelters for now, I guess. We can put another one in over here. No one's really going to help us with this construction, so we're kind of like on our own for the moment, but we need 2 more huts before people can be happy when they move in. Otherwise, they're going to get a little bit cranky about the fact that they have no place to sleep. I'll go ahead and start mashing these out, I suppose. If the wood chopper's already full up, we should be good to go. There are little details that I like as well, like depending on the contents of your backpack and what you're carrying around. She's got a slot above her backpack, and also that slot that's over her butt right now, that little, like, I don't know, sheepskin roll. Those fill up with the items that are actively inside of your backpack, which I actually think is a really, really cool feature. I like that a lot. That was one of the things that actually got me. I was playing the game for like 20 minutes and I was like, all right, like I'm not totally on board with this right now, but it seems to be okay. That was one of the little details that made me hold on and keep going further. We're like kind of hungry right now. I should probably go track down some food or something. I haven't gotten to the first winter, so I don't know exactly what winter is going to entail once it gets here, but the game makes a big deal out of getting ready for winter. Right now, I'm a couple days into summer. You start out, I think, in springtime. I could definitely use some berries. Our character's hungry right now. There is some jank you're going to find inside of this title, though. Like, for example, while your character's inside of the sleeping animation, you can spam feed yourself with food, and it doesn't animate. It just kind of, like, fills up the meter. There's, like, these little oversights and things around that make the game feel a little bit cheaper than it probably should. Compared to some of the competition that's going on out there. But honestly, I don't even know if that's true. A pack of hungry smokers are approaching. From where? Does it show where they're attacking from? This is the game world, and as large as it gets for right now. I don't know if their plans are to add more biomes and to add more things to the game for the moment. But it says that there's something coming to attack me right now. I guess we'll just hang tight and see what happens. I don't see anything that looks threatening right now, but it says they're on their way to the village. Oh, are those them right there? What are those things? No, those are running from me, so I don't know if those are hostile. I don't know if those want the smoke. The good news is we're all actively filled up right now on all of our meters and everything's been taken care of, so whatever challenge decides to come on down the pipeline, we should be okay. I need to manage workers over here, so I need him to no longer be a woodcutter, and I need her to be a woodcutter. She just finished building her own house, which was actually very helpful, so we'll assign her to this hut over here. That wasn't what I wanted to do. There we go. So she's assigned over there. We're looking pretty good. Our village is growing, and it's looking a little bit lived in. Like, it's starting to look like somebody's actually around here, like some vestiges or some tiny bit or piece of civilization actually dwells here. I don't know what the exclamation points above everybody's heads are. They have issues. They want me to add another foraging marker. Okay. Our schedule balance, so our morale is moderately decreasing right now. Smokers are leaving the village. I don't even see the smokers. I don't even think that they got here, so okay. Since our morale is rapidly fading, I do think it's a good idea to maybe start adding, like put in a giant wooden head statue. Who doesn't love giant wooden head statue? Giant wooden head statue, bro. It's got what the people need. It's like electrolytes for the Viking soul. All right, we'll put you right there. And then, like, how hard is it going to be to level this off? One thing I do very much like is you don't have to supply the builders with tools or anything. It just seems like they have those by default, and they kind of just do their own thing. We need a bunch of logs to go in here. Let me see if I can help out with that maybe. I don't think we have a log storage, so it's going to come down to, like, the logs that I can provide. And so I'll chop down the tree while he's getting the rest of the stuff all nice and fitted in. Because I don't find it to be intensely entertaining to walk around for 20 minutes carrying heavy rocks. If I can, like, automate the AI to handle that for me, I think that works out perfectly okay and fine. But this is Aska. It's been a pleasantly surprising game. I came into this one after looking at the screenshots and a little bit of gameplay, expecting it to sort of be like a Jankfest asset flop sort of copy of Valheim, and instead I walked away respecting the game much more than that. And in fact, I also felt kind of bad about feeling that way about the game, because this game is not Valheim at all. It's not trying to be Valheim. It's definitely a hybridization of the Valheim loop, and so, like, it's got some Valheim-like aspects to it, but I think it's just the Viking aesthetic that really sort of draws that comparison. Instead, what I would say is, if you are looking for a Viking game where you get to manage your own Viking colony from a third-person perspective on the ground and, like, beef and fight with enemies and advance up a tech tree, and there's automation and there's crafting and all that kind of stuff to help you out with the day-to-day running of your village, this is not an incredibly terrible choice. There's some jank in here and some wonk inside of here. The jank, to me, largely confined to just the main character's riggings and animations and stuff like that, but everything else seems to function reasonably well inside of this title, and I haven't had any bugs. I haven't had any problems with the AI doing stupid things or, like, wasting their time or causing problems. Does this thing upgrade? No upgrades available. It says that villagers will gather around and tell stories over here. Well, hopefully that gives them a little bit of a status boost. I do think there's a number of quality of life things that need to be implemented on into the game, like the ability to repair the weapons that you currently have on you to stop you from needing to constantly craft other weapons and new things that, you know, eat up time and get in the way of you just enjoying the game and tooling around and adventuring and building up your village and adding on upgrades and all that kind of fun stuff. I did find the menus to be a little bit odd. They took me a little while to get used to, just because I don't think I've ever seen an inventory system quite like this game has, where it divides up into, like, small items and large items, and, like, your inventory can be full even though there's slots empty. Or, no, the bottom inventory, when it fills up, like, nothing stacks down inside of here. And so anyways, I had, like, weird stuff going on where I first started out where I was like, your inventory is full, but I saw that there were slots up here. And what I didn't realize is that medium items, small items, and large items are, like, distinct from one another, and each has their own kind of storage inside your inventory. There's definitely room for quality of life to be added on in, but there is also some nice quality of life already inside of here. And so the game's cruising at like a 75% at the moment on Steam. I think that's actually reasonably fair. This is one of those times where I think I probably agree with the Steam reviews. This is overall a decent, solid game that has been fun for the 2 hours that I've spent with it. If you don't mind the fact that effectively this is one of those games that's kind of like a busy work simulator, where you're constantly going to be undertaking tasks and stacking objects and moving things around. If you're okay with that and you're the type of player that enjoys that sort of gameplay, where you've got these civic projects that you're working on one log at a time, and you're working alongside your villagers in order to get that done, and that's not the kind of drudgery that drives you crazy, I think this is honestly a game that you will probably like. The combat's a little bit clunky, it could use a little bit more smoothness to it, it could use a little bit more fluidity, but it's functional as it stands right now. The entire time I've been playing the game, I felt as though I'm advancing. I don't think there's been any major moment where I hit like a large-scale stopgap and I didn't know how to progress. The game does a pretty good job of like a big mote of light will come down from the sky from the gods, and then you just chat with it and it'll tell you roughly what you should be working on next in order to keep your society up and running. And so this is one of those games that I think is off to a rosy start as far as early access goes. There's stuff to be fixed here, there's stuff to be fiddled with, there's stuff to be moved around, and there's obviously a lot of space for quality of life to be added on in, but from the basic core premise that they've pitched to me so far in my first couple hours with the game, I have been happy with the way that the game has gone, and at no point did I feel frustrated or angry or like wanting to quit the game and not play anymore or anything else like that. I have felt like it's an entertaining title that tries to take what Valheim did and add a couple more influences to the overall stew, and I think that is going to drag in audiences and fans of things like Banished or, Hammerhelm or any of those types of titles that very much came before it and have a lot of the same ideas going on. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what is worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we are fooling around with a title called Aska. Tomorrow, we will be playing around with a different title. I appreciate you sharing the luxury of your time with me. I will catch you all tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet. And don't forget, there's a pretty solid chance that I will be streaming this game on the day that this video goes live so that we can get 4 or 5 hours on into the game and you can figure out whether or not this is a game that is right for you, just in case I did a poor job at explaining the game inside the confines of this video. Catch y'all later, and that's all I got for you, folks. Bye.